this in? LinkedIn doesn't allow. Oh, what are I talking about? All right, all right, all right. We are back. We are back. If you know, you know what time it is. Monday night, time for another open court discussion live in the Counselor's Corner. I am your host, David Lorenzo Glover, aka the Controversial Counselor. Joining me is my co host, the Big Bad Wolf, Herb Lewis.
Ow!
That growl, he might be hungry tonight. I don't know. Maybe he ain't getting no cookout food. The wolf might be hungry. Tonight, Monday, May 25th at 9 p.m. EST, we will be discussing the topic, the great male reboot. Tricking, simping, or leading in 2026. Good evening, everyone. If you're a man dating in 2026, you got three roads in front of you. Road one, you pay her rent, maybe mortgage, uh, her nails, her soft life before she's your girlfriend or y'all even start talking couple business. She's your invoice. You call it dating. She calls you Friday. And you know what that is? Payday for most. You damn fools. All right. Road number two. Uh, and that's tricking people. Road two. Got the good morning text. Uh, the 2 a.m. therapy sessions that she can call you, text you. Um, you're her emotional support human. She vents about the guy she actually sleeping with. You call it being a good man. She calls you when she's bored. That's simping. Road three, you lead. You're in the gym, trying to stay physically fit, healthy. You're building. You got standards. You'll provide, protect, commit, but only if she brings peace, respect, and acts like a damn lady. No audition, no pedestal. That's dating with terms. But here's the problem, folks. 63% of men say dating is harder than ever. The middle road, just be yourself and it'll work out, is closed. Can't be yourself nowadays. You can. Very, very small percentage of men probably could be themselves and still, if they have options, they can be themselves. Because they can say, the hell with you, I'm on to the next. But if they don't have options, then they got to be something that they're not. So that road is closed. Detour in the road, then you got to go elsewhere. You're either getting used, and I hate to be blunt with some of y'all, and I know some of you might have some alcohol today, and you might tune in, you hear this, and you're like, oh man, this ain't me. Don't start up an argument with the lady. You could say, oh, the big bad wolf and the controversial counselor said this. Don't do it, especially after you've been drinking.
Mhm.
So either you're getting used, maybe getting it ignored, or you're someone that's getting respected by women. Tonight, the economics of thirst, the tax on good guys, and the male reboot thinks leaving 2/3 of men behind. So 2/3 of men are already left behind. Three roads. You're on one of them. By the end of these 2 hours, you'll know which one and what it's costing you. Please like and share our video. Um, and don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Controversial Counselor. All right, folks, here we are. Happy Memorial Day. I hope everybody had a wonderful day, even though the weather, well, at least the two places that I'm familiar with, Baltimore, Niagara
Yeah,
Falls,
it's
Buffalo
a little
area.
much up here.
It's been kind of started off the week warm for us, like in the 90s, then dipped down into the 50s or 60s. Then this weekend, like rain off and on all day long. So today was a little more the weather, got back to 70s, but still some little sprinkling. So whatever you decided to do, I hope you had a good day, a restful day, and you're ready to get recharged to get back into the work week. Couple more shout outs. Shout out to my brother Carlos Muhammad. Happy birthday, King. Hope you enjoyed your day. Another trip around the universe, another opportunity to be great, and another with good health and good spirit that you say, hey, I'm still pushing forward and trying to accomplish everything you set out to do. Also, shout out happy heavenly birthday to my pops. His birthday was on the 24th, whatever. May you continue to rest in peace. Wish you was around. There's a lot of, knowledge that we could have gained from you and a lot of knowledge we'd have been dropping on you by now. But you still here in our spirits. You still with us in our DNA, and every day or not every day, but when we all get together, my mother may be quick to remind us, like, I just like your damn father, or that's that Glover side of y'all, or something. So that's just who we are and what it is. But may you continue to rest in peace. And I don't make a big noise out of that, but it's Gemini season. My birthday in a couple weeks, so hey, I know my birthday is always 2 weeks after my brother Carlos, so that's coming. But I keep it simple. Also, if you see me convert to a mask during the show, it's not because I got the hunter virus or anything, or in my household that's spreading around. It's just that I had an incident in the schoolhouse, breaking up a fight uh, with a kid that's shit bigger than me. He, I ain't gonna say his name, so I guess I can say his. I don't really know his weight, but he's a big kid. He probably over 300 and about 6'1". Uh, so breaking that up, accidentally got like hit in the mouth or kind of elbowed, or I don't even know. In the heat of the moment, when the adrenaline going, you don't think about it. Then once everything settle in, I say, damn, go in the bathroom. Know that shit, my crown is freaking loose. It's hanging. So I'm trying to have rippable solution to keep it in, but it may not last throughout. So I may have to convert to a mask because what I won't be is snaggletooth though this show. Uh, Jimmy Streets, what's up, Lo? How you doing? Appreciate you coming. I'm sure Herb, you know Lo from Buff State. Jimmy used to be with
I'm trying
Carlos
to.
and Dietrich.
The name doesn't ring a bell. I don't know why.
It used to be Jay, Jim, Jimmy, and all that. They stayed, and I guess was they in Porter? They used to be with Carlos and Dietrich.
I thought Carlos and Dietrich stayed in more
More.
west. I
Well,
thought they
maybe
stayed.
they did. I don't know. I don't remember them. I used to know. I used to just try to come run amok up there, uh, hang out with with the ladies. Uh, but what's
Yeah,
going on, Jim?
amazing.
So, so that's that. If you see me convert to the mask, that means my cosmetics ain't hold it up. Eh, I'm not about to be out here snagging too. But as soon as my dentists get the message, then I'm gonna be, hey, in the shop trying to get right. Herb, what's going on with you on a Monday Monday night, Memorial Day
Man,
weekend?
I didn't do anything, man. Monday's coming around for me, man. I'll be wiped out from the prior week, so I just try and catch up on sleep, man. At least get some reputable sleep as much as possible, because it's like my sleep patterns are an hour and a half, and I wake up and I'm thinking, okay, I haven't slept a while. Look at the clock, I'm like, I ain't slept at all. So, I'm hanging in there, trying to collect sleep piecemeal. Get ready for the next week. That's coming up. 60 hours. Put it in. Put it out. I ain't got much to add. I ain't got nothing to take away. Looking at planning a trip for next year though, and it's funny. I just saw a map that had the United States broken up into like 4 or 5 segments, and they had them uh, color coordinated. And it asked if you had to live and work in a section, which one would it be? That had the north, it had the north, and the northeast one, south and southwest, another one, and the Midwest painted one, and then it had a small section around the Bible Belt painted. I was like, you know what? It's funny. We don't realize how big this country is until we start to move about that country. Because I'm looking at planning a road trip next year to the southeast. So I'm looking at Sequoia National Park, Joshua Tree National Park, Death Valley National Park, and probably a couple other joints out there. About a week, so I'll be driving around there. I want to do Yellowstone or Mount Rushmore, but man, the distance between those is like 1,000 miles. I'm not trying to do that and not see anything in between. So that's about you know, that's about what I'm looking at. I'm thinking my that might be the destination for you when you get the Sprinter van out there, because there's a lot to see, man. We I think being from Niagara Falls, we take stuff like that for granted. So nature, parks and things like that, it's like, okay, yeah, big deal. And we don't realize, because I've seen the Grand Canyon. The Grand Canyon is massive. I mean, there's no other way to describe what the Grand Canyon looks like. We could take probably 12 or 13 Niagara Falls state parks and put it in the Grand Canyon. That's how massive the Grand Canyon is. So I've kind of been fortunate enough to see Hoover Dam, Grand Canyon. So I still want to take in some more. I mean, because eventually I want to travel the world, but I think to be a good steward of traveling, you should at least be familiar with your own country before you start broadening your horizons, so to speak. So that's where I am. So that's what I'm looking forward to do. Um, with or without somebody, don't make me no difference. I'm good either way. But I got no
Well,
complaints, man.
well, I always said one of the trips I wanted was, is it an RVC, one of those camper things? I always said
Mhm.
that I wanted my favorite people in the world to be in one. Either, I don't know, maybe it might end up being one or two of them, and we just hit a road trip across the country
Yeah,
and just laugh, stop at different destinations, kind of have stopping points, and somebody map it out like what events is going on in that area, and just have a blast. Have a blast. Now the key to it is people were like, "Will I make the list? Will I make the list?" And I guess you have to say one of the things: do you cause turmoil? Do you love to just start? Because I know anytime you have group dynamics, there's going to be some disagreements. So I know that's going to happen if you're on a road trip. It's going to be something. But are you able to recover from it
yeah,
and say, all right, I done took a nap. I woke back up. I'm in better spirits. But if it lingers on and you got a nasty disposition for the remainder of the thing, no, you will not make the cut. You will not make the cut. And I kind of did the same thing with my students. I had told them, I said, you know what? Yeah, as eighth graders, y'all about to leave. I said, I'm gonna get some food and I'm gonna have my top 10. So they like, and it was after testing. Testing was over and I started making a list. And one girl, because her birthday happens to be on the same day as mine. She's like, "Oh, I know I got to be on the list. I know I got to be on the list." So I'm adding names and to it. Then other people are like, "What's that list for? What's that list for?" Oh, I know I'm gonna make it. Then other people find about it. Then they in my office is like, what's that list? Whatever. And I'm
you
reading
trying
off
to brag.
names, and their heart is just dropping. Like I'm not like whoa, whoa, and I'm naming off some names, and they like whoa, like, and I'm naming, and I got to like six, and they sitting there like, you didn't call out my name yet, and actually the two people were in there. They actually were on the list, but the way I put it, they might have been like at 7 or 8, and they like, how did these people get before me? I said, there's no order or ranking. It was just the people that came to my mind, and they was like, are you really gonna have this? Let me answer this. And some of them may be listening to it. They shouldn't. They ask it should be in bed.
In bed.
And I'm not buying all that food for y'all because I told them we was gonna have pizza, wings, chicken fingers, fries. Absolutely not. Y'all don't deserve that. Some of you do, but the ones on the list, unfortunately, not too many of them are the greatest scholars of the school. But those are the people that the students that I probably conversated and got to know more because they're always in my office. Good kids don't be in the office like that. They be about their business, go to school and handle it. So you get to know, you don't get to know as much about them as the ones that's like the middle ground students or the lower level students. But the top 10 thing, I don't think is going to happen. But probably kind of worked when I was doing testing to kind of get them motivated for the rest of the year to, just one of those manipulation tactics to kind of get them on track. But that's sidebar. So, but that RVC thing, that's something I really would want to do. But if you're gonna make the list, you have to see if you get that invite. It'll be a fee. It'll be a fee. Everybody have to pay equally, whatever. If you're down and you got the time, hey, let's have at it. Let's
Yeah,
create a long lasting memory. Yeah,
yeah, man.
that's
Because I mean, it's like I said, I started looking at the destinations and things, and I was just like, wow, so much land, so much to do, so much to see, and I was just like, you know what, I gotta get out there because a lot of these things I want to see, like Redwood Forest, Mount Rushmore, Yellowstone, Old Faithful, all those things for me, they're must see. So, but that like you said, that's a sidebar. But this topic is with all the things that are going on, you know, dating and mating wise. This is gonna be this. This won't be the end of it. This conversation we're gonna have tonight, it will not be the end of it. Hopefully, some of you fellas will get some direction out of this because we don't necessarily talk about what men should do because I don't, personally speaking, I don't think we should tell any man for that matter, what to do. But I realize a lot of people coming up, and some people our age, they're lost. They don't have an idea what to do. They don't necessarily want to be accused of being um, a simp. They don't necessarily want to be used for their money, and then they can't fit in when to actually do something for a female. And I always tell people, first of all, you got to know what your own blueprint is in any of those three situations. If you don't know what you want to do, it don't matter what she wants. It doesn't matter what she's asking for. You're gonna be at her mercy because you're not leading. And when I say you're not leading, I'm not speaking of being in a relationship. You're just not setting the tone. In other words, every good band has a good drummer, and a drummer sets the tone, sets the pace, sets the rhythm. You don't have a drummer. You got everything else. You got a bass, you got a trumpet, you got vocals, you got no drummer. So when you walk into a place, it fits nice, it smells good, you've been hitting the gym, you done leaned up, you fresh meat. I don't care how old you are, from 25 to 55, you fresh meat. Because people looking at you, especially women, they looking at you, they sizing you up, and they see you got some awkwardness about you. So you go sit in the corner, maybe have you a little drink, and you don't approach anyone, and nobody approaches you. You're available, but hell, who knows? And that generally shows up in times when you go out like happy hour. You might be working for an organization that goes out after happy hour, but you're the misfit. You don't speak to too many people. That you come in and do your job. You think you're doing everything right because you don't. Lord knows you don't want to be accused of harassment, so you don't know how to fit in. You don't know how to flirt on the down low. You don't know how to push conversations. You don't know how to ingratiate yourself to anybody, so nobody bothers you. And then you're sitting there, time keep passing, people get promotions, and none of this stuff comes your way. And you ask why. There's no reason for anybody to speak highly of you, to speak of you at all, because you're just not involved. And the number one thing for anybody, anywhere, is exposure. You go to you go to you go to a banquet or a fundraiser. You don't mingle. You might have your name tag on, but that's about it. You don't say hi to anybody. You don't offer to buy anybody a drink, even though you can afford to. You got everything working for you. You clam up. It's like somebody that took your confidence, and you don't know where to go. You've tried dating coaches, but that doesn't work for you. You got a book of pickup lines in your shirt pocket, but you don't want to look funny pulling out a book trying to approach a woman. And like my boy used to tell me, he said, "You ain't got OCC." I said, "OCC?" I said, "What's that?" He said, "On call charm." You ain't got none of it. You got the pizzazz. What do you do? We'll get back to that.
Well, he said a lot, and one of the things is it is like an awkward situation if you're in the dating pool and you out there trying to meet. And trust me, some guys have been in relationships, but then they get in their 40s or 50s, something don't work out, and they have to go back out there, as well as women. And you'll hear more women probably speak on it more often and say, "Man, I haven't been out dating in a while. I don't even know what to do, what to expect." Guys may try to act like, "Oh, they got everything under control. I got this." But some of them, you already know you really don't have it. And it's it's one of those things that if you go to a happy hour, you got to have confidence to be able to step to somebody, or the eye contact, or be able to read body language. Uh, you know, and I think it ties in with the whole thing with the road tricking, simping, and all that stuff. If you someone who steps to it, and some guys, you may check out a lady, that might be your conversation piece. You might say, ask her, like, or act like you don't know what you want to sip on, and like, what are you drinking? And if you notice that it's some eye contact or something, she might, "Oh, I'm drinking this or whatever," and you're like, "Oh, I never had that before." And you might say, "I want to see what that tastes like." And that may be the foundation of the conversation, and who knows what it will lead to. But you got to be confident. And I always tell this story. I had no choice growing up to be confident because we had certain seats in the vehicle. If you didn't, if you was gonna go out and you wasn't gonna say anything, we were referred to as sitting on your fucking hands all night. Shout out to Igor, who always used to say that. Then it's no point of you occupying a seat in the car, because either we would be four deep, or you might as we would refer, rhyme bitch. Be might be five deep, and but you better go there with the intent to say something to somebody. And we had to collect that at the end. You had to show and prove. See, we didn't have cell phones like that where you could be like, oh, there go this number. Like I always said before, it was brown paper bags, numbers written on. It was receipts that you might have had in your pocket from a purchase earlier. It was something. I mean, if you had a job, which we didn't really have no jobs, so we had business cards. So it was kind of like whatever, napkins or something written on your hand. That would be the worst. If the handwriting wasn't all that good, or you wrote it down and you was feeling good, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this number?" Like, "Oh my god!" And if you can't make out the number, you only can hope to try to run into that person the following week to follow back up. But I had to learn because I was the kind of the quiet one out of the group, so I wasn't that aggressive. Never was that aggressive, and but I learned like, yo, I don't want to hear their mouths, so I'm gonna have to step it up or say something. But luckily, I don't know. I might have drew some girls to me that it wasn't that hard once I got going, and I would make my quota by the end of the night. I would definitely make my quota. And but when you get in your 40s and 50s, may not be that easy. So it leads to the thing of tricking. But I think tricking kind of to me on the scene when we were younger that it was a lot of guys. Y'all might not want to hear it, and some of y'all reformed and changed, but some of y'all dope boys, y'all know y'all was big tricks. Y'all was big tricks. And some of the older guys that had good jobs were big tricks to the younger girls. Y'all kind of put it out there, and you would make it difficult for the middle road people who wanted to travel down that road because they're like, shit, she rolling with him. Damn, she just got out of this vehicle, rammed up, beats shining, decals on the side, whatever. And you couldn't really compete with that. And for me, when I was young, I was a college student, so I would hang out. I would be out. I would be on the block. I would be out there, but wouldn't be doing anything. But I just had to bring a different brand to the thing, and that was maybe intellect or just having a conversation piece or introducing them into a different world. And I did all right. I did all right. And actually, I brought a lot of the collegiate collegiate girls to the scene because of my role and impact on on our university campus. That when it was time to go out to the spots, if you're from Niagara Falls, the 3Ms, the Monte Carlo, and some of them, many of them wasn't from Niagara Falls. They was from Buffalo, um, New York City. They entrusted in me, like, okay, we'll go out. We hanging with Dave and his crew, and boy, them dudes used to be on them like vultures, whatever, because it was new girls. They you never seen them before. They had their different look, their different style, and some of them guys got lucky with them girls because they also knew some of them girls they were broke. They were college students. They were broke. So if you meet one of them and you're like, "Oh, I'm cool with Dave," I ain't gonna say my nickname over here and all that, but it really don't matter, poops. And they were like, "Oh, you cool? Oh, I'm cool with him," and then they would entrust that. And sometimes relationships would end them good, and sometimes they would be sour. But a lot of them guys, that's what they kind of led with, and girls would get tangled up in that, and throughout their younger years until they start hitting a peak and they say this is not where it's at. But I think that tricking thing, but it still happens to even professional men and all that. I just wanted to drop that layer, and we'll carry on with that component. I'll let her add
Oh no,
to
I'm
it.
gonna follow. I'm gonna follow that right up because what a lot of people don't realize, and Kevin Samuels used to say this: your network, your network, is your net worth. Now, if you got a crew, a solid crew, you don't have to be the most gregarious person of the crew because if your crew is able to pull people toward them, guess what? It makes your job a little easier. Because I know when I went out, I was last on the totem pole when it came to my crew. I just didn't have what everybody else had. I was in college. Cats had their own apartments. So one of the cats, a brother's no longer with us, used to lift weights. He had to gift the gab. Another dude, tall, fair skin, had them Playboy looks. And it was funny. I remember one female said, "You're not like them. Why do you hang out with them?" I said, "Well, what do you mean?" She said, "They're all womanizers." She said, "You're not." I said, "Hey, look," I said, "I got to learn sometime." I said, "I'm not trying to walk around and not be able to communicate with any female and not be able to, on a certain night, be able to pull one of my own, so to speak." So I remember that though. In them days, it's just like you grow. And the way you grow sometimes is trial and error. You find out, like I said earlier, who you are. And just so point of clarity, yes, we've bashed. I know I have. I bashed men who have sinned. Why? Because it says I have low to no gain. It says I'm gonna hang around in the woman's friend zone and maybe I'll get lucky. So I want to clarify that there's nothing wrong with being one of these three. Pick one, adhere to it, and do what you do. Let your game work for you if that's what you want to call it. I'm not here to correct any man's path towards a female that he takes. That's his business. He wants to give up his money freely, fine. He wants to give up his time freely, fine. He wants to give up his attention, fine. Shout out to Ron Wills, BGS. They always talk about your time, energy, attention, and money. So however you want to do it, go at it. But men have to develop confidence. And the way you do that, like I said, is trial and error. It's a lifelong process. And you tend to find a lot more men are a lot more confident when they've had success early on in life, be it academic success, be it success with females when he was younger, or what we always talk about, sports. Why sports? Because sports you got to perform. Period. You got somebody across from you waiting to take what's yours, and you say, "No, no, 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 not today. That's mine. We got to squabble for it." And that's what dating is, especially when you get to the upper echelon of attractiveness and desirable women. You got to compete. You got to outcompete that other male. No, I know some men say, "I ain't competing with no man for dating." That's what you tell yourself. Because
Same thing women tell themselves. Well, I ain't fighting over competing with no man. Yes, you are. And again, and I'm gonna let you get the thing, but I just want to go on when we talk about that whole subject matter of uh, the way you dress in there. Like I don't dress for men, I dress for myself. Like so, when your ass looking in the mirror, looking to see if your ass look big in this or how it fit or how you look, whatever, you're doing that for yourself, right? When you go out, or do you want to be noticed? It's no different than a man. Men they just hey in the same league with the I don't know the freaking dying of the beards and fake hairlines and all that stuff. And make sure you smelling right. But I think that's a one thing off the muscle, whatever, to smell good. That's a conversation piece right there. If you smell good, and that could be something that automatically, like, oh, for a woman might say to you, like, you smell good. What you wearing?
Yeah.
And you could be. We always would say LK. And they say LK. What is that? I never heard that. Ladies Killer. Who is that by? And then the conversation go on from there. So, but to say you don't compete or you don't buy such and such or you're not trying to look a certain way because you dress for yourself, then you might as well stay in a damn house and have a fashion show.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe you. I don't believe any of you who say that at all. At all.
And you know the funny thing about that, to follow that up, is you see it on Instagram. Instagram, from what I've seen, and I don't even, I think I may have an Instagram account. I would have to dig it up and look and try and find out what it is. A collection of pictures, people showing off their better sides, whether it's traveling, food, music, concert, whatever it is. People are always putting their best out there because that's what they want to be judged. And I don't have a problem with it because it's a competition, and it's cutthroat. I'm not here to tell you that it isn't. I will say this though, I don't have a problem. Why? And I know this is probably gonna people are gonna say, well, you're contradicting yourself, Big Bad Wolf, because I am my own competition. And what that means is this. Yes, I'm heavy right now to some women that might be unattractive. I know I gotta get that under wraps. But in terms of being able to speak to somebody extemporaneously, jokes, intellect, I can sit down and talk to anybody just about anything at any time, anywhere, any place. That's just because that's how I'm built. Now, you got some men that can't do that. So you got to develop that. I don't care whether you start taking the language, whether you start to look at your wardrobe and say, okay, what do I want my clothing to say about me? And I think that's what a lot of men don't quite get. Matter of fact, I'll mention in a 1980s hit TV show, Miami Vice. When you saw them two boys out, their clothes said something about them. Them clothes, their clothes that they were cutting edge. They were the coolest shits on the block, and they was packing heat. So they got it all. Even I go back to another TV show that was around when we were kids, Chips. Eric Estrada was the lady killer. Hair done right. He had that complexion. And this is back when we didn't really even consider Hispanic males in this country. And I didn't realize he was Hispanic until I got much older. I was like, oh wow. Never thought about it. I was like, oh, cool. But you gotta use whatever it is that you have. Accent it, develop it, grow it. It's a market. And that's one of the reasons why they used to call bars meat markets. You going out there to market yourself for the best available thing that you can potentially get that night. Good, bad, and different. That was the way it was. And that's the way it went down for a lot of us, especially, not so much nowadays because you don't have the nightlife that we used to be able to go out. So you, every week, like David said, you pack the car and you got the seat. Every weekend was a proving ground. Every weekend you got to see that work either pay off or you got to go back to the drawing board. You would ask, well, yo, man, what am I doing? I can't pick up no chicks. Well, what's your game? How do you open up? Oh, man, I don't know what to say. Well, that's the first problem. Like David said with the LK, ladies killer. It's an opening. Your one line, your opening line, rarely ever lands a female. And any man who tells you that, he lying to you. Now, it might pique her interest and it might tilt the needle a whole lot, but she ain't coming home with you just off of one line. If she do, you may want to be careful. She might be trying to set you up. And yes, they're out there. They are
Yeah.
they are out there. Whether this is why hold on, give me a second day. This is why you gotta be careful with leading with money. Because just like you out there looking for something, they out there looking for something. And this is why I have a hard and fast rule. When I go out of town, I don't talk to any woman that A hasn't been recommended by somebody I trust, or B I have not verified. I don't care how attractive she is. Why? Because I'm not getting my wig split. And I was in Vegas at the beginning of the year, and I seen a couple tasties out there, and I was like, nah, I'm on the road. We keeping this shit buttoned up.
Uh,
Won't be heard. What we gonna say? Today?
no, I was going to say, like you said, barely ever the one liner is
Mm,
something that's going to pull somebody. It's usually a backstory that if you come with a one liner, that it works.
yeah.
And I could think of a situation with me, and you know, this girl, I wasn't really interested in her. And one of my boys, he was trying to pump her or put me on her, and I'm like, nah. He's like, man, you see that wagon, man? And I'm like, nah, I don't like her face. And he was like, dude, like you too picky and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, I like what I like, whatever. And but then it was one night, we probably overindulged and all that. And she happened to be looking decent that night, at least that's what my eyes see. But I don't know. Back in them days, that E and J might have said something different. And, and I said something to her like, I am. You looking good tonight. Man, you should end the night with me. And she said, okay. Just like that. Like, okay. And there it was. And that led to the couch potato scenario that she didn't tell me. See, Herb know the couch potato. So it's always a backstory to certain things. That's why I say I'm your favorite storyteller. But she didn't tell me because she wanted that shot. And she like, man, I got him. And I know he's in college. He still stay when he comes home. He stays at his mother's house, but I don't think he gonna be pulling nobody there. But I got my own spot. But I got this dead weight that won't leave. So again, we went to the house, got all the way into the apartment, up the stairs, and she like, well, before we got up the stairs, "There's something I got to tell you." What? What? Now she lucky my little mean self at the time they cuss her out and speak to her again. But I got too far to get that far. And so she's like, well, I don't go with him. We not together. Uh, but he just won't leave. And I was like, what, he in there? And she's like, yeah, but he know we not together. So I took a risk, young, trying to be cocky, arrogant. Didn't realize, shit, we could have been in a body bag. Came in there, he on the couch. I give him a head nod. We go to her room. I'm sleeping peacefully in there. Did what I had to do, but I had told her before I got to get up because I'm telling y'all too much. But that was a long time ago. I'm being transparent. I told her before I had to pick up my lady from the airport. So y'all like, wait a minute, David, wait a minute. So you had a girl. So why did you go over there? Mind your business. Mind your damn business. Stay out of grown folks' a business. So, yo, long as you wake me up by 7 something, because I got to go to the airport. Yeah, she woke me up. I got up. She like, you better get up. You said you had to go. Even though it was a long night, I was like, oh, shit. So I walk out, give him a head nod, like, all right, man. He like, all right. Then once I started gathering my faculties together, I was like, what
Yes.
the fuck just happened? Why did he let that take place? Why are you still there? You need to leave. You just got disrespected to the highest level. And I don't know if I could have been in his shoes to stay there. Obviously, a woman that you still, a young lady that you still love, but you just showed her you didn't have no options. So that's why she did what she did. Because, like, what do he care? I hold all the power in this relationship. And your ass sat on the couch while somebody went there, plowed her down, and then left out, gave you the head nod. Luckily, I had a little empathy for him because I would have just gave him a fist bump. Like, all right, man, have a good day. But I got the hell up out of there. It's real. So I'm saying all that to be saying we're talking about one liners, but also options.
Yeah.
In his role, he didn't have no options. Clearly, he didn't have nowhere to go. And I don't know why, because we were young enough. Like you couldn't go back to your mother house. Yeah, I didn't have kids together. So what was holding you there, other than your pride, or sometimes you didn't want to see nobody else with her? But you could have. He could have easily went in the damn kitchen and got a damn knife, whatever, and said, "I'm about to go to town," and it would have been end up being a tragedy. And I'm glad that didn't happen. Shout out to you, homeboy, for remaining your code. And it shows you have a lot of emotional intelligence, a lot, because you could have lost your cool, and I couldn't even be around to tell this. But for you people coming up, if you see this or you see a clip of this, don't do that shit. I was stupid as hell at the time. E and J altered my decisions. That's why I don't mess with E and J no more.
Yeah, and that's just for me, it's just having one of those rules that you lean on to keep you safe, and that's pretty much why I don't do it. I mean, and I've been to a few places. I'm in Toronto often, and Toronto has a bevy of women that that's making traffic stop. They and clubs all over. I mean, I always look at Toronto, excuse me, as a smaller version of New York City. So the only ethnicity I probably don't see in Toronto often as I do New York is Hispanic women. But Caribbean, Asian, East Indian, Caucasian, Black, they got them all. And depending on what night, depending on what you looking like, depending on how you feeling, ain't no mountain high enough that can stop you if your shit's together. And trust me, when I say that, I'm speaking from the lowest rung to the highest mountaintop. If if you coming in to a spot and you hot, oh yeah, you gonna start melting stuff. You gonna start crystallizing rocks to sand. You gonna start making that sand turn to glass. Everything you touch, everything you do that night, gonna turn out golden. And you can be like, damn, why don't I have this success all the time? I can't answer that question for you. Because I know there have been some nights where I've stepped out and I'm just like, yo, I can't miss. I feel like Mike at the free throw line with my eyes closed, shooting left handed. I can't miss. Don't know what it is. I can't tell you. All I know is I've lived it once or twice. And you know what you say? Chase, let me get that dirt off my shoulders. You come back out the next week and you get knocked down a peg or two. You say, okay, damn, what do I got to do? Who do I got to talk to? And sometimes it's just a matter of recalibrating. Sometimes it's, and I'll tell you this. Sometimes it might be just a matter of picking up that phone and interacting with that female again and say, hey, yo, what was going on that night that compelled you to say yes and not any other night? And she, she might put you down. She might say, look, you came in there, you were smelling like this, you was you was behaving like this, and it might have been that you had a drink or two in you, and it just leveled you out. It just allowed you to grow into the confidence that's there, but you never tapped into it. It's just like it's just like playing a sport. You got the talent, you got the ability. You're just afraid to show because you might make a mistake. So you get out there and you playing free and easy, and everything just comes to you. And the coach says, "Finally, where has this player been all season?" You say, "Coach, I don't know." And at that point, it becomes a matter of repetition, repetition. But that's where most men learn from. This was successful then. Let me go back out and replicate it. This is why you have some people that are creatures of habit, especially athletes. Athletes are creatures of habit. Why? They don't want to disrupt what they think works. And for a lot of men, this is the first hurdle that they have to overcome. The first hurdle is themselves. Because they'll think, well, why would this female want me? Why? And I do look in the mirror. You got the looks of Eddie Murphy, you got the voice of Frank Sinatra, you got the intellect of
Hold up. Hold up. So where was Eddie Murphy ass fine as why,
I
whatever?
don't know. I'm just women.
Oh,
Women love Eddie Murphy for what, and it might be because it's funny. I don't know. It might be
well,
because he's got a boatload
well,
of money.
that
I'll be
that
sure
go
I
that
didn't
goes
make
that
money.
goes a long way, whatever, a sense of humor, whatever. If you can make somebody laugh, because if they're into you and you can make them laugh and they laugh at everything, then you got her.
Yeah.
So point number one, guys, if you're cracking jokes and you got one person that's laughing at everything, you might be locked in on one person, but it may be a group of them. Y'all might be in this little session with friends and all that, but everything you say, somebody just cracking up, girl. She just balled up laughing. She likes you.
Mhm.
She's into you. She's like you. That's a hint. So you need to know that. Or if she's always you're off to the side, y'all playing a game, and then it's intermission, and you go in and get some chips or a drink, and somehow she always over there making conversation. She likes you. Got to pick up on that. Got to pick up on the non-directors or the not the straightforward stuff, but just the non-direct stuff. Like, damn, every time we take a little break, she over here up in my face or saying something. Sometimes you got to pick up on it because they may never say anything until another time. Like, I was trying to get with you tonight. Every time I was laughing, you ain't pick up on
No
nothing. Then
tips.
next day, y'all get together. She was somebody else, and you're like, damn, she looking good. And somehow you find out that she was into you, but you didn't pick up on social cues, and it's nothing. And I think sometimes as older guys like OGs and all that stuff, if you didn't have them, as the great Dr. Goodbar Anwar said,
Hmm.
referred to being gamed up. Like if
Yeah.
you don't have people to give you that nod, or this is what it is, or if somebody responds this way. If you don't have that, then kind of lost in the sauce. Yeah, but guarantee when we just talked the reason we got on this about the Eddie Murphy and all this stuff, he's a funny dude. So it wouldn't be surprised. If you funny like that, you're gonna get if you got a sense of humor and you make people laugh, no matter what. You could be the ugliest ass comedian, whatever, but you're gonna get women because they're gonna enjoy being around you. Because laughter to me is one of the eighth wonders of the world. That the ability to laugh and have a good time that heals a lot of that heals pain. Laughter. So if you got somebody that no matter what, they may say, I can't stand you, but you know what? You always make me laugh. You
And that's the end.
always
It
make me
really, it
feel
truly,
better.
really is.
So that's
Especially for a
that.
lot of women. A lot of women, they'll be quick to overlook some deficiencies, if you will, that a man has that they otherwise wouldn't even um, entertain. But that's why you have to develop yourself. And as difficult as it might seem, what I would tell guys is this: you want to be funny, you want to be looked at as funny. Develop the art of telling jokes. And yes, telling jokes is an art form. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give you guys a joke that I heard today, and David, you'll appreciate this because it's towards the end of the season. Teacher sitting there in class. A student comes up to him and says, "Teacher, is there some way that I can turn in some homework or something to raise my grade?" Teacher says, "Let me think for a moment." He said, "Let me ask you a question. How do you spell way?" He said, the student says WAY. The teacher says, "You forgot the F." Student says, "Ain't no effing way." The teacher says, "Exactly." But stuff like that. I mean, little jokes like that. It ain't gotta be anything grandiose. You ain't gotta have everybody slapping their knee, everybody rolling on the floor. It's just something that shows you have a sense of humor, that you can deliver a joke, that you can hold somebody's attention for 30 seconds, that you can command the group. Because the best way, at least from what I've understood and what I've seen, is if you can speak. And when I say speak, I mean you have people around you, your cadence is on point, your enunciation is crisp, you can articulate an idea. If you can speak, you're ahead of probably about 70% of the men in your circle. Why? Because men get around attractive women, and what do? They start fumbling their speech. They start stammering. They start stuttering. And then they can't look somebody in the eyes. Scanning. And I've had a lot of practice doing this. So when I'm talking to a group of multiple people, I'm always scanning eyes. Maintain eye contact. Deliver whatever it is I have to deliver, and they're gone. And some people will say, "Well, I can't look people in the eyes." You have to, because it says that I am sincere. I'm not trying to trick you. I'm not trying to BS you. I'm not trying to get over on you. Now, you got some women that is going to be intimidating towards. Oh well. They're gonna say that makes me feel uncomfortable. And now you got your in. Now you have the opportunity to establish dialogue, conversation. You say, "Well, why does that?" And now they may open the door enough for you to quote unquote walk in. Ease in the door. Don't go in there like the big bad wolf huffing and puffing and trying to blow the door down. Ease in the door. Ingratiate yourself. And this is how you start to develop a rapport. And it be wow. And it'll be these type of things that allow you to develop personally, And when you go out to places, you'll be able to sit there and talk and have a conversation, and you don't know what that conversation is going to turn into. It may not yield any fruit with her, but she might say, you know what? I'm not your type. But you know what? My roommate, you're just the kind of guy that she needs. And this is sometimes what we don't understand. This is sometimes what the simp doesn't understand. Hey, she might have a friend that you align with perfectly. And the person that's leading with money, he's in his own world because he might not think that he has anything else to offer other than money. And I'm not gonna fault the woman who's taking the man for what he's putting on the table. If that's how he runs his game, that's how he runs his game. Like I said, none of these are wrong. They're all approaches that you, the individual that we are discussing, feels comfortable with, and they're doing it. And then you got, like David said earlier, a guy got out of a long term relationship and he's getting back. He's got to get his foot in again. This is a different world now. It's not the same world pre cell phone. So where do you go to meet people? How do you know if this individual is really what they say, what they portray? Well, I'm gonna tell you. If you can get a hold of the social media, go look at the social media. The social media will tell you a whole lot about them, potentially the people they hang around, their likes, their dislikes, what they associate with, what they don't associate with, or what they don't want. And that's generally what I find out. Because man, listen, I get to the point sometimes where I just inbox random females. I'll see and I'll inbox them just because I'm not looking to get anything other than some information. And some people will say, well, you're the type of guy that makes women I don't care. If somebody's going to be offensive or offended by the fact they get some quote unquote random guy asking them a question, then get off social media. It's called social media for a reason. If you don't want to be contacted by a person you don't know, set your inbox up for that particular thing. Facebook allows it. So as long as, because I bet a boatload of women that way, and some of us are real cool where I can just send them a message and they'll respond, and that's it. It's nothing nefarious. If I wanted to get in your pants, I'd be like, look, I just want to pound you out. That's it. Nothing else. But hey, I'm the kind of guy. What I'll say, I'm the kind of guy. But really, really isn't that just because I don't know what you got going on. And like I said, if she don't come highly recommended, or I don't know her that well, I'm not getting my head split. Sorry. And I know a lot of women think women aren't out there doing that. Well, better safe than sorry. I'm not gonna be the one to find out. And I sure as hell ain't gonna be the one leading the 6 o'clock news talking about you done got out there with some female out there hooking. Won't be me.
So when you think about that, we talked about the tricking and all that stuff. That's been around since the 80s. Like he a trick, whatever. And you know that some females back in our days, people like, oh, you could trick off with her. She'll give you something. You got trick. You trick off
Hmm.
with her, and so that's been known because that's what your reputation becomes. And
Right.
even females will say to him, "Oh, you get one, he gonna buy you this or buy that. You got to do this, you got to do that. He'll do that." But then when you come to this simping culture where you have the good guys doing this, or like I just made a post the other day, and it wasn't my brother Carlos, but I said he was dealing with a woman with like 8 kids between ages of 6 to such and such, and one of the guys, I think I posted it on, might have been TikTok or whatever, and he's like, "We're the biggest simp," and no matter what, I was like, "Is he a family guy or has he been kind of misled?" And the response was like he was a big simp, and so for some people they be like, "I'm confused on that." So if I go out, wine and dine, be nice, be cordial, and all that. What constitute? And I'm asking you, what constitute someone being a simp, or is it being genuine? Because Dr. Daphne has said on something I posted about that, she's like, "Is it reciprocation?" Like,
I saw that. I wanted to reply,
yeah.
but I knew we were doing the show tonight. So, so
So when you say
yeah, go
that
ahead. Yeah, well, I
flipping
saw
thing,
that and I wanted to reply, but I knew we were doing the show tonight, so I figured I'd wait.
so what
It's
determines
twofold.
whatever?
Um, it's gonna the way the individuals handle that is going to determine. Now, I've often said that I'm the type of person that if I don't like your wardrobe, I'll go out and buy you new things. That's me. Some people will say, "Well, that's simple." Nah, no, because I'm not expecting anything. I buy the clothes because I like the way they look on the female. For me, that's all I need. I don't need her to drop the panties. Hmm. It's never what it's been about for me. Now, conversely, if I'm buying things for a female and my expected outcome that I have not communicated to her is I'm trying to get laid, then yes, that's where the quote unquote problem starts because now you're putting out there an expectation that A, she don't know about, and B, she may not even be down with. And that's where a lot of men who simp get caught up at. They say, "Well, I don't." And in his mind, he says, "I done spent all this money. I done." What is how does the song go? Spending my dime, wasting my time, talking till I'm black and blue. And can't you see that I just want to get next to you?
Mm, mm, mm.
It's the same thing. You got it in your mind that you done did all this, you done did all that. So she should be happy to serve you up some. Sorry, partner, that ain't the way it goes. So yeah, it's generally some form of reciprocation in there, or letting this individual know that hey, look, I like you. I thank you for all the things you've done for me, but that off ramp does not lead to your house. That off ramp does not lead to my house. That off ramp is closed. You got to go find another exit or entrance, if you will, because this one does not allow for your kind of traffic. And it might upset the dude, and the dude might okay, fuck you then. And some men are like that, fuck you then. I won't get you this. I won't get you that. You lousy bitch. You dismiss him, and I hate to
So
tell you, ladies, just dismiss him outright because he wasn't for you. Now you got some guys that'll say, okay, you know what? It didn't work. Let me try another angle. Mhm. Nobody, unless you two sit down and clearly, crystal clearly, I mean, so there's no distortion, no ambiguity, no nothing. You sit down and he says, "Hey, look, I want to get in your pants." Now he coming. Now he coming straight. Now he coming mode one, and he's saying, "This is what I want. This is what I've always wanted." I'm trying to remember the man's name. I can't remember his name right now. Jeez. But he coming over one now. He's saying, "Look, I just want to bed you." And she will say, "Well, why were you doing all that other stuff?" Oh, because I thought it would work. She said, "Well, if I'd have known that then, you may have had a shot. But now you acting like this. I can't mess with you because I don't know whether to trust you. I don't know if I can spend the night with you at your house, at a hotel, my house, and not have to wake up worrying about my well being. Because now that's the vibe that she's getting. She's getting the vibe that you are are potentially a threat to her physical well being. And a lot of guys got to remember that. And the more I hang around women, the more I ask questions of my coworkers, the more I start to become in tune with this kind of stuff. And I say, okay, you know what? I understand. Is from my perspective, is it a tad irrational? Yes. However, it is incumbent upon me, and it should be incumbent upon any man, that the safer a woman feels, the better your chances of getting whatever it is you want from that woman. I'm not saying it's gonna happen then. I'm not gonna say it's gonna happen a short time later. It might be a couple months later. So now she just might be playing a role to see how far you're willing to go before y'all get to do the mambo. That's women for you. And hell, I mean, there's no guarantee. Eat hell. Even the married people, there's no guarantee, and that's the reason why a lot of men get married. There's no guarantee.
Well, I think comfort is a big piece. And especially the more they know about your upbringing, your family, and all that stuff, your dynamics, they like, I feel safe. He's not going to do anything. Again, especially the more they know about you uh, and your family. I think that's big. When you don't know anything, or they say, oh, I don't fuck with family. Red flag. Red flag. You're in a relationship, you 40, in your 50s, and the person you're dealing with, you're like, oh, well, tell me about your mother. You got any brothers, siblings in there? Yeah. And they say, I don't fuck with them. Huh? What? And if you feel comfortable getting into that, that's on you. That's on you. Because you got to ask, like, yo, you alienate, you got a whole family, whole genographic of people, and you don't deal with them. It's a red flag. But a lot of people are like, okay, he likes to keep to himself. He don't deal with the drama. Or he'll say his family is full of drama. And just a red flag, just a pointer. Write that down, people. And I know me and y'all now viewing it, but y'all see a clip or something, write that down. When somebody says that and they ask about the family, again, I always talk about what's the best predictor of the future? Your past. So some people like, I don't care about the past. I don't want to know about it. You don't have to know all the details about the past, but that's the best predictor. And if you can speak on that, and somebody can speak on that, then it can open up lines of communication. But when you think about the whole simping thing and all that, it's a lot of it is just what it is. Like people put stuff out there as as far as what they'll do, what they won't do, and when you think of that, being a nice guy, the nice guy version, trying to I'll do this, I'll do that. And don't get me wrong, there's people that I think when you let me retract everything. And I think again, we living in a different world. Like when you think of like social media and stuff like that, and people feel like, oh, I got to put everything I do out on social media. Um, we went here, we did this, we did that. To me, that's questionable. That's questionable because I think, and I could be generalizing, but many men move in silence. They don't need to do all that. If I'm taking my woman out, it don't got to be advertised. It ain't got to be put on social media and step by step. When you doing that, to me, like you trying to prove something. And the only thing I want to prove is to a woman is my care for you, my standard of care, and my consistency. And if I come into something being consistent, that's the way he is. Shit, he never labored off of what he do and all that. But when you feel that everything has to be advertised and all that, as a man, because we speaking on men, the roads that men travel, gotta look into it. Because most men, again, Biggie gave you that blueprint. Real G's move in silence. Most men want to move in silence. They don't want all that chaos and all that. But when a man wants to advertise something, he might be advertised, I'm a simp. And if this doesn't work out, maybe I could catch the next bait. This is bait for the next person. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. I ain't the expert, but I know some shit I just wouldn't do.
And the funny thing about that is you have a lot of guys that will get caught up in not dealing with certain women because they don't meet certain aesthetics. It's understandable. However, if you have come up against a wall that you can't break, and your only other two options is to trick or to pay, you got a decision to make. Because there are a lot of women out there who fit certain bills. And, we talk about sneaky links. We talk about friends with benefits, and we talk about the Melvin. Hell, even Melvin's running around here getting hooked up. So if Melvin can get hooked up and couch surfing, then an average, reasonably decent male, home, job, you should be able to get at least what Melvin gets. No, we don't know what Melvin's doing. Is Melvin providing any assistance? Is Melvin watching kids? Is Melvin watching over the house? Does Melvin come over and do things when she needed? Fix fix a broken door, replace window latches, or any of that stuff. Because Melvin might be a handyman. He just might be inconsistent handyman. That's where you have the end over Melvin. But some guys they won't examine that. They will get mad at the fact that the female is messing with this guy who they think is beneath her. Newsflash. It's not up to you to determine a woman's worth until A, you're serious about her, or B, you're going to marry her. Well, no, it's not simping if it's reciprocal. Simping In basic words, simping is something that a man does that is not rewarded on any level. Now, the consistency, who needs the consistency and what does that look like coming from a female to a male? Because a lot of men will tell you they have no problem spending a boatload of money on the women. Conversely, a woman will say they have a problem spending a boatload of money on the man. There was a statistic I saw that men over the course of a lifetime of a relationship, they will spend $15,000, whereas women spent $3,000 on them. Now, somewhere somebody will say that math ain't mathing, and they will say that's inconsistent. But men understand that they are rarely ever going to get what they put in the women in terms of money. And I agree, it is subjective. It is different for different people. That's why answering that question becomes, what does an individual want from the relationship? And once we understand what an individual wants from a relationship, it becomes a lot easier to get what that is. All you have to do is find the right person who's willing to part with that you like, or that he likes, or whatever the case is. It's the same thing of going to look for a job. You start looking for a job that fulfills your minimum requirements. So, pay, hours, location. You say, okay, I have my three majors that are met. Now, what else can I get? What are the other perks that I get? Uh, accrued time off, paid holidays. You say, oh hell, I wasn't looking for all this, but I'll take it. You get to the interview goes smooth. You give your list up, and they say, okay, we can meet this, we can meet this, we can meet this. But there is one condition: you have to be on call. All of a sudden now, all those perks, everything that you was getting, eh, don't seem so attractive. Because once you clock out, you want to be able to get out to the win. You want to be able to say, look, I ain't got to do nothing till Monday morning. I don't have to do anything till tomorrow morning. And they say, well, we give you all these perks. We give you all these benefits. You got to give us something. You got to work with us.
Yeah, that standby shit is a killer.
So yes, well, it's different for different people. That's why I said you got to make it known. As a man going into um any situation potentially, make it gotta you just gotta make it known. There's the news radio. There's like a 30-second clip, and when I when I um when I get the opportunity, I'll drop it in the uh the counselor's corner, and I'll tag you guys in it. But roughly it goes, they're negotiating a relationship, and kids, location, vacation time, and all this comes in. And it took about a minute. And she said, "Oh, sorry it didn't work out." He says, "Just thanks for the time." We have created, and when I say we, I'm speaking of society. We have created a society to where when a man hears no from a woman, it's a death knell. Oh, I can't believe this raggedy bitch turned me down. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be too um too
Vulgar.
yeah, too profane. But this raggedy bitch turned me down. That pussy ain't no good anyway. She probably been ran through. You don't get those kind of men. And I hate to say it, the world is full of them. Matter of fact,
Those men with
oh,
limited
I disappeared.
options.
Yeah. So I mean, it, and as a woman, you can't scream for that kind of man. It's impossible. It's like a man screaming for virgins in a nightclub. Good luck with that. And just really, really good luck with that. The only thing you can ask, I mean, there are certain things you can ask a guy that might give you some insight into his behavior. And one of those things I, any woman for that matter, and I know we're getting off the topic a little bit. If you are concerned about the propensity of a man to strike a woman, ask him. Simply ask him, and don't try and trick him. Don't try and pull one over on him. Just ask him. Say, hey, you know what? I got a question for you, and don't say serious question. You got to eliminate that. Ask him, when was the last time you struck a woman? Just ask him, and I guarantee you, you're gonna get a couple different reactions. And I will tell you now, don't necessarily listen to what he says. Watch his physical reaction, because most men worth the salt who has never ever raised their hand to a woman, what do you think his reaction is going? What do you think his physical reaction is going to be? I'll give you a hint. He's going to say, because what kind of woman would ask that question? One that's been a victim of domestic violence, one that's been sexually assaulted, one that has some concerns about the man that's sitting in front of her. And me personally, I understand it. I would say that's an interesting question, but no, I've never ever touched a woman in any capacity like that, because I understand the kind of world that we live in. But unfortunately, if a woman has been in that situation before, we talked about this earlier, she wants to feel comfortable enough to where she can let her guard down, because women walk around most of the day, with the exception of probably at work, worried about their safety. I don't blame them. I understand how it works. I know. I sometimes from day to day, depending on where I'm at, I'm like that. I'm looking over my shoulder, saying, "Okay, what's gonna happen?" I didn't feel like that when I was in Vegas. Can't tell you why, but when I was in Vegas, I didn't have a concern. I didn't have a care about anybody or anything bothering me. Just weird. I can't explain it. All I know is it exists. And I was like, this is cool. I hope nobody knows me. I don't have to worry about anything. I'm just
It was
existing in
free.
life.
I think sometimes when you free, you don't have a worry in the world. It's like you got some blockers or something that nothing can penetrate your freedom. And when you're in that element, you're that zone, it's hard to stop somebody. And as well as make analogy to sports. When somebody in the zone, see, they can't be touched, can't be stopped. It's the same thing when you think about relationships and the roads that people travel. If you're a leader, you're going to lead and you have your expectations. But the bottom line when you're a leader is about consistency. And I think that's the thing that gets to folks. When you consistency, and we always talk about that, I always talk about this to the end. And I say the three most important words other than God, is KYP. Know your personnel. If you know somebody's consistent and you know them, you already know the response. You ain't even got to answer. You don't even got to ask because you know they may not labor off their position. So when you're dealing with guys that either they're gonna be a trick, simp, or a leader's gonna be consistent and he's not gonna change. You can be big booty Betty or whoever or somebody. Ain't, he ain't even focused on that. He maybe, but outwardly he's not gonna be shown. But he's gonna be looking for certain things to say, uh, certain things to say, yeah, nah, that ain't it. Or I'm not really pushing forward towards that. Leaders gonna lead. They're gonna be consistent. They're gonna have their approach. They already gonna have things kind of mapped out on what they want. So if you don't fit the bill, eventually you're gonna get canceled. You might not say that for a trick. You could be all over the place. Yeah, it's looking good that night or whatever. Or and we because we're in the day and age of social media, he gonna spend. He gonna spend because that's what he do. A simp is just kind of trying to play that role. Hopefully you fall in his shoulders. He do this or do that. Well, I listened to this. I did this. I did that. When he don't get his way, then you'll find out like, damn, is he a narcissist? Like shit. Like, did he? Was he really there for me? So it's a difference with all of them. And and as men, you got to figure out what role you want to be. What role you want to be. But no matter what, consistency is going to play a major part of it all. Oh, shout out to the New York, shout out to the Knicks going to the finals. But
All right, got it done.
that's what it's going to be. So it's no one size fit all model with any of this. It's about who you are, what you take, what you take in. When you think about reciprocation, if that matters, if you want it to be 50-50 or shit, some people like 70-30. Give me something. And it's all about how you adapt to any situation. And I think that's the struggle with many.
Yeah, and in addition to that, a lot of guys, especially the ones who lead, sometimes they lead for the wrong reason. And when I say that, I mean this: they have the actions and the outward appearance of a leader, but in the back of their mind, the simp baddie is driving them, and they're looking to get something, and they haven't communicated this, and they're not on the up and up. So some women will experience this. I'm not saying all women are going to experience this. She might invite him over one night, and you know, and this is why you get into the whole thing that men and women can't be friends. And he may start trying to put the moves on her, and she said, "Well, what are you doing?" Well, oh no, this ain't that kind of party. You got to leave, and now she's upset because she found out the one who's a leader was trying to play the role. He's trying to sneak his way into the panties, and that was not what she had in mind. It happens. I'm not gonna tell you I've been wanting to do it because I'm upfront with what I want from a woman. I I don't believe in playing games. Either you know or I don't want it. And anybody whom I've ever dealt with, they gonna tell you, oh no, he's he's straight up front, up for us, up front and forward. He's gonna let you know. Shout out to Alan Roger Curry, that's his name. And if guys, sidebar, If you have not read that book, please, for your own benefit, go get a copy of Mode One. Let that be your guide. There's a couple other ones out there that are written by people in the red pill space. Rollo Tomasi's The Rational Male. I would um I would suggest that you probably go get that book and read those two books. Read them. I'm not saying they have to be your Bible, but there's some very good information in there that will help you develop yourself, so you have the confidence to stand in rejection. I know that that sounds crazy. What guy wants to stand in rejection? No, losing makes you better because you understand what it is that you have to improve on. So the next time you step up to the plate, it's 0-2, and you know you can't hit a curveball, and you know that pitcher's going to throw you a curveball. Guess what? You might be a little bit better prepared for it. And you know, this time, you might be able to hit that ball. No. You might not be able to drive the ball over the fence for a home run,
Yeah.
but you're going to get on base.
See,
And sometimes that's
I'm just
all.
showing this because some things you just, some books you just got to come across. You just got to read, and you like, oh, they ain't pulling shit out their ass. You reading stuff. Some people pulling shit out their ass is because they just going on trendy topics, but they don't read nothing at
No, I
all.
don't. I don't. I think I might have the yellow and blue, the orange and blue one, but I don't have the rational meal. But that's on. I have a just
That's everything.
yeah. Um, I have a just probably about 200 books that I want to purchase, and I want to get my library straight in my attic before I start buying and books and things, more books and things of that nature, because I want to have my library, curated to what I want, what I like to read, and that's essentially for me, because if I get somebody that happens to go upstairs, because I plan on having um my YouTube studio up there, library. Um, I want to learn how to, and I have an acoustic guitar that I want to learn how to play, and a keyboard. So I plan on having all of that up in my attic, and I got to get it situated. So even in the winter and the summertime, it ain't too goddamn hot. It ain't too damn cold to go up there and just sit and play and tinker around. But that's me. I got some things that once I get to, it's hard to believe I'm fucking 50 fucking four. But once I get into my older 50s and 60s, then I do retire or take some time off from work or diminish my work hours, I'm busy. I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm evolving. And these are things that, whether you're a leader, a simp, or a trick, you all can benefit from having in your repertoire. And I've often said this, and I'll say it again: what's in your toolkit? Because if it's in your toolkit, it's available for you to use. Now you might be rusty with it, but you still got it there. And you never know. You might be at a bar one time and they're doing karaoke. I know I'm not the greatest singer, but I don't have a problem with getting up there and doing. Some people say, "Well, no, I need another person to sit in with me on the song just to do certain aspects." You say, "Well, what do you need?" You get up there and say, and the people on the audience say, "You know what? He's not half bad. He can carry a tune. He's not off beat." You get back to, yeah, that was fun. I didn't know you could sing. You know, it's a little pet of mine. I do it in the shower every so often. If I'm sitting at home with my acoustic, I'll write some song lyrics down, and I double a dabble. Next thing you know, somebody say, "Oh, you know what? Let's go on a picnic. Bring your guitar and you can serenade. You say, well, I can't sleep with a damn. You're in. Shut the fuck up and say, okay, when are we going? Don't blow a good thing by talking too goddamn much. Because a lot of women have said, you know what? He was okay until he opened his mouth. And then it never got back on the playing field. Coach never subbed you in, even though you had the hot hand, because he said something stupid.
Yeah. See, Dr. Daffy said women and men have to stand in rejection. Accepting rejection is an art form, and it's definitely about self introspection. And she said, I bought the 48 Laws for Women. Yeah, rejection is a part of life. You got to lose before you win. So, at any given time, even with some young ladies as a man, you may take L's and you may get rejected. Consistency may come to a part, like you don't want to be a stalker or whatever, but you might go to the lab and change up your game, or your movements may be different, but you still may drop lines and say, eventually, that's who I want. I'm gonna get her. But you got to do something different, and you got to come with different approaches. And again, some people take that as, some people just be obsessed and they just come with something, and it's almost stalkerish or whatever in the inbox. It's somebody like, I got to block him, or I did go out with him and I kind of told him this ain't gonna work, but they're outside my house, or they're just showing up. That's not gonna get you a win. Go in the lab, do what you got to do. When you run into them, you run into them. But I can guarantee you this: sometimes, as men, you got to be unavailable for women. Like, they may want to do something, and if you say, "Nah, tonight ain't a good time," or "I'm busy," or "Actually, I'm out of town on a this business trip," like, oh shit, like he real, he's serious,
Yeah,
because some other guys, shit, they could always be available. They ain't got shit going on,
right.
so they may say, "Oh, I could always, anytime I call him, he's available." But I really like him. But shit, I can't get his time all the time. I got to get correct, because he'll tell me, "Nah, well, I'm gonna be here at this happy hour. You stepping out tonight?" Nah, I'm not. I got this. I got a deadline to work on. I got to do this. Or actually, I'm not even in town. I'm here. Now that becomes intriguing. I can't have all this time. He got other things going on. Again, when I talk about options, you're only as good as the options you have. If you ain't got shit going on, you ain't shit. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna say that if you ain't got nothing going on, you ain't that promising. And for some people, they need people to have shit going on, because that helps them. If they don't have nothing going on, it makes them to get stuff going on.
Yeah,
Like, damn, they doing all this and all that, but she giving me some rhythm. Man, I got to step my game up, or vice versa. So again, and also people, everything can't be about entertainment purposes. Oh, it's this party going on, or this and that, and nobody care about that shit when you done already did that shit, and you're in your 50s. You done partied and did this and that. What you want to happen is for you to be established at the end, and then be able to say, "Well, I don't work. I do my own thing. I can attend any event I want to." and party for 2, 3 days and don't have to worry about shit. That's the point that you want to get to. But a lot of times, again, we got, I think we got fooled by social media and appearances. And I always talk about the images. And I think that plays into a lot of people's heads on how they move or how they react or how they handle relationships because these images are powerful and people feed into that. Trust me, it's some personal accounts that I see that's going on, and I'm like, it ain't what it is cracked out to be. It really isn't.
I want to get back to the statement that Daphne made about women and men having to stand in rejection. Yes, I agree, but the difference is this: when it comes to social interactions between men and women are always going to be given the red carpet treatment for no other fact than their contribution to humanity is more important than that of a man. Now, for long-time listeners, you'll understand. I always say that there's only two things that men and women need to do. One, men need to fertilize an ova. Women need to carry it to term. Other than that, in relationship roles, that's up to the individuals in that relationship. Now, the reason why it becomes important for women is because if women decide in mass not to have kids, we're looking at a human extinction. So, women are going to be catered to in that particular way for that particular reason. So, for men who are saying that, well, women have a maid or women don't have to worry about this, you're absolutely correct. It's unfair and it's a double standard. This is why you see some women, they go nuclear when they tell a man no. It's not a soft no, it's not a gentle no. And to their defense, in some regard, some men have not learned how to take no for an answer. That's not the women's fault. Some guys haven't been taught, you know, how to take rejection, how to roll with the punches, how to take that KO shot, get up, get up, beating the 10 count, and go back to boxing again. They just never have been taught. So when they haven't been taught how to take a standing eight and get back in there, they're gonna behave like a brute. They're gonna behave like somebody who has no understanding, no concept of being rejected. They may
Option.
never learn.
It's all about options. It's all about choices. It's all about could be upbringing, childhood experiences that you been told no, or you couldn't get what you want to get, and you don't know how to respond to it, or simply you tired of being told no. So you lead to that. Let me see what Daphne said. No, it's not the woman's fault. We have been killed for saying no. Look at young man who pounded that girl's head in. Like, no matter how you spend it again, it's a lot to it. So I don't think it's no cookie cutter approach into any of this. I think it's individual based, and that's why people have to look at certain individuals. So that's why when people say it's not about your past, let's move forward and not talk about your past. You got to look into the past. You got to look into those individuals who commit all this stuff. When you start digging deep into it, then you find out everything that happened, and you say, wow, this is probably why it happened. Because a lot of that stuff in the past was unintended. Nobody ever addressed it. No one, it was no concern. And as parents, sometimes you working, you doing all that. Sometimes you dismiss a lot of things.
Hmm.
Kids tell you this, or they may tell you what's going on, and you may just say, "Oh, you just got to deal with it." If they ain't hit you, it ain't no issue or something. Until you start observing stuff, whatever, like even with relationships, when people end up in controlling relationships, everybody has their own life to live. They're living it. Parents is working. Kids, you try to be as attentive as you can, but you can't guarantee now in this day and age you can't keep up with everything because of social media influence. Back in the days, you had a little more control over and can monitor because it wasn't as much as going on. But now, shit, it's hard to keep up with any of this because also kids have 10, 12 different accounts. So they circulating all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's almost impossible to keep up with that. And then that's when it filter into the schools. It's just never in there. And that's why I say, damn, I can't wait to get out of this shit for real. And then I can really live. And it's sad that you say, damn, do I really got to wait till I'm about 60 to live? Really? I mean, some people living think they living now, but are they really living? They could be 37, they could be on trips, they could be posting this and all that, but they ain't got a pot to piss in or something if somebody decide to take away this or that, or they say, oh, your rent gonna be raised to $200-300, or you lost your job and you can't find another job. So who knows? Daphne said, it's about understanding, and not everyone's cup of tea, and I'm okay with that. A year ago, I told someone that we weren't compatible, and this dude wrote me a 2-page text cursing me out, shaking my damn head. Yes, I can't wait to get out too. This shit is for the birds, for real, for real. I hear you, Doc. This shit, this shit is something that me and you, we could be on the podcast on the island talking up, sipping on stuff. Be like, yo, y'all still in this shit? Y'all still doing this? It's wild out here. It's
Yeah,
wild.
for guys that do what the doc has just described, I don't know what to tell you, man. Except leave well enough alone. I mean, it's it's I'm not gonna say borderline pathetic. It's pathetic that an individual puts that much energy into responding to no in that way. Take that energy, man. Go right to. Matter of fact, I would tell you, you should have taken that time, written that reply, and just publish it in the pamphlet, and just call the book rejections, similar to Usher and Confessions. Do that. You number one, you get more out of it. Number two, you might even make some money. You might even get called on the talk show to talk about it. There's so many ways that an individual, male or female, can deal with no, but they just don't understand how. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Um, developing confidence in success. Because when a door doesn't open, there's probably someone one down the line that will gladly open, welcome you in, give you a seat at the table. And sometimes that's all you can ask for is a seat at the table. Because some people, and I like to say this, you know, when asked where some people stand, So people don't have an answer. Why? Because they've been standing at the table for so long that they never got a chance to sit, so they just left. The voices are never heard. The opinions, as far as they're concerned, to others don't matter. Yeah, absolutely. This shows a level of emotional intelligence and maturity. But you, hey, the dating pool is full. What is the song? The world is full of pimps and hoes. Those are something. I'm thinking it was too short. I can't remember the song, but I just remember that particular part. But I mean, we all in this together. This is why I take my time, and I'm in my little paddle boat, and I go slow. I go real slow to the point that sometimes that I don't even move, and I just look at the world go by, and I say, "Oh, she might do." Put out some feelers, do a little breadcrumbing, and see what the likes are, see what the dislikes are, see what I can do that's never been done. And, I take my time. I'm kind of like what they said on Colors when when the sergeant and, well, I can't remember the names right now. Sean Penn and I can't remember the guy who played his training officer when he said, "Hey, what did the baby bull say to the father bull? Let's run down the fucking car." He said, "No, let's walk down there and fuck them all." Sometimes you got to take your time to get what you want, because if you don't, you're gonna end up missing everything.
Well, it's a lot to it. And like I think Herb said earlier in the show, this conversation is far from over with. We just know that we not gonna talk you out of death tonight about it, and it'll come up, and then you'll see other people talking about it because we tend to talk about stuff that's really happening right now, and exact not waiting for it to blow up with entertainers, because entertainers, again, people, we don't live their life. We don't. This is for the masses of people who just everyday people. We just ordinary people. Yeah, we can't keep up with their lifestyle, but of course, we're going to talk about it because I think it starts off at a lower level, as we addressed it earlier. When you think about tricking, simping, and leaders, and I guess the one commonality of it all is, shit, if you're gonna be a consistent tricker, you're gonna be a consistent simper, or a consistent leader. You just have to fight your battle. And at the end, like I said in the intro, shit, at the end, when you sit back and reflect, how much is it gonna cost you? How much is it gonna cost you? And that may be the concern. If you have no worry in the world about how your account is depleting, rock on. Be whatever you want to be. If you somebody that say, shit, I got bigger goals. I got kids. They getting older. They may be in college. They asking for stuff. I want to be able to have this. Man, the hell with this person. The hell with this woman. Depends on what you want. But I'm gonna close out with that.
On that.
The doc said everything, unfortunately, is transaction, and it is. Like some people, that's what it is. Everything you do, it's a
Doesn't have to
transaction.
be.
Well, that may be the next topic of the show, uh, about transactional. We're gonna close out this one because we can go on and on. but I'm gonna give her the opportunity to give his closing comment, far as simping, tricking, and leading. And we got the pot is brewing right now, and that's what it's supposed to be at the end of a show.
I have nothing to close with. Well, I'm transactional in what way? I mean, there always should be some reciprocity. I I think humanity functions better when that's a way, because who wants to continue to give and not receive something back? No, I'm not saying what an individual should receive. I'm just saying they should receive something. Confirmation, gratitude. I don't know. The thought.
Well, take it to the counselor's corner. Make that a post. We about to get up out of here, and you know it's gonna be some clips about this show. We gonna move forward. I always try to let the big bad wolf, whatever the wolf is, whatever is on his appetite for the next week, I try to abide by it. And let's talk about it. So you already put some little appetizers out there about transactional interactions and things with folks. So who knows? I'm sure he'll jot that down in his notes. We'll go from there. Uh, everybody have a good week. And I guess in our world, the summer had usually after Memorial Day. That's when we get into the full summer swing. Yeah, you'll see how relationships change too, whether they're transactional, whether whatever happens with them. But now we've hit that point of the year for the summer, and we'll see how things have changed. We just sit back and watch how things unfold because it's always a mess all over. But with that said, I'm out trying to close out the school year and get these eighth graders out on to high school. And damn, damn, we rotate. So next year I got sixth graders. Oh, I'm not ready for that shit at all. I'm not ready to spin that block. I'm too old for that shit. But that's that. That's that. And we'll keep talking, keep plugging away. Because there's going to be some interesting dynamics that happen with relationships over the summer, with all that's going on in this world today. Mm. People pockets ain't the same how it used to be, but we'll see how it rolls. Anything you got to say, Herb, before we get out of here?
Nah, I'm good.
Oh, we all right. Make sure y'all monitor y'all transactions and these relationships. It's getting real critical out here. We out. On to the next one. See y'all next time. Peace.
I'd speak. See you next time.